that can be crazy, loud, overwhelming, and often painful. Our church, this group, wants you to know that we are glad that you are here, right now. This is what we've all been waiting for. Get ready, because we start in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
This is what I want y'all to do. What I'm under reside. We going. What I'm under reside. 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 What I'm under reside.
What's up, everybody? Pastor Troy Wynn, senior pastor of the Freedom Church, and I'm here to share some time with our youth this week as we continue this conversation about careers and where the money resides in terms of what you can do after you graduate high school. We've spent the last 2 sessions with you and I looking at different careers and different degrees from colleges, and I want to take a look at trade schools today because trade schools are a viable option that many of you should really investigate and consider. When I mean viable, I mean they can prepare you for jobs that are going to pay you substantially, that will allow you to live the kind of life you dream of. Living on your own, having your own house, your own car, your own food, your own account, banking account, checking account, credit card accounts. You'll be able to live a life that is not dependent on your parents, not dependent on anybody taking care of you, because you are able to take care of yourself. That's really what it's about. You growing up and being able to take care of yourself, and you also being able to take care of those that took care of you if need be. Well, you can't do that without a career. You can't do that without a job. You can't do that playing Xbox and PlayStation all day. You're going to have to do something that's going to bring in some substantial income in your life. If you're a young person, let me tell you something. This is the kind of stuff you want to listen to because it can guide you in the right direction. Oftentimes you can have access to information that many people didn't have access to, didn't know it existed, or just never had anybody present it to them or prepare it for them. But listen, I've done both. Tonight I want to share with you some of the highest paying trade jobs in 2021. This is current data, current information for 2021, and you definitely want to tune in because I'm going to drop it on you, and I hope that you'll be somebody that says, Pastor, I heard something, man, that I wasn't even considering, didn't even know exists. And that's what I like about these trade careers that I'm going to present to you in this particular episode. Oftentimes we don't hear about these, especially if you're from the African American community. We don't hear about these. We don't know they exist oftentimes, but they are available to you. I need you to understand that these are careers that you can pursue, and they will definitely give you the kind of life that you can be proud of, the kind of life you can live. And again, we're talking about trade schools. We're talking about tech schools. We're talking about Job Corps. Those kind of places and institutions prepare you for the work, for the job, and get you ready in most of the time, a shorter amount of time than it would take if you went to a 4-year university. Here's the first one I want you to consider. Radiation therapist. Have you ever heard of a radiation therapist? Well, today I want you to consider becoming a radiation therapist. Now, for those that don't know what a radiation therapist is, let me tell you what that person does. It's a medical professional who administers radiation to patients who have cancer. Now, this is a very important job. It's a very important job because, number one, you're dealing with critically ill people. You're dealing with individuals who are going through perhaps one of the worst things that they may ever face. And you actually have the privilege and the opportunity to be a part of their journey, to be a part of what they're having to go through from the medical perspective. And you're the individual that's going to be really applying the radiation that they would have agreed to if they're going to get chemotherapy. The radiation therapist is extremely important. It's an extremely important job. Now, I need you to know that there is a 2-year degree and a 4-year degree that correlates with the radiation therapist position or job. 2-year degree takes 2 years, of course. The 4-year degree takes 4 years. Here's what you need to know, though. The average yearly salary for a radiation therapist, hold your seat, is $85,000 a year. That's right. You heard me right. Cha-ching, bada bing. Talking about where the money resides. Where the money resides, let that money fall down. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, this is where the money resides. $85,000 a year for a radiation therapist. Now that's something that you want to consider. That's also the average amount of about $41 an hour, just to break it down from an hourly perspective. $41 an hour. You ask anybody that you know, anybody near you, anybody that's working a job, ask them, is $41 an hour good money? What they say, I promise you, they'll say, child, yeah, that's good money. And that's money that you can be earning to build a life, to build the kind of life that you dream of living as a young adult. Consider that particular field, because I think it's one that is quite interesting and it's one that pays quite well. Again, that's the radiation therapist. All right, here's my second one for this particular episode. Number 2. This is one I know we never hear about. This is one I never heard anybody mention to me when I was in high school or even after high school. I never had anybody ever present this career path to me. What is it, Pastor Troy? Here it is. It's elevator mechanics. Have you ever considered being an elevator mechanic? Say, no, man, I ain't even know that existed. Well, if there are elevators, there's got to be some mechanic somewhere. Let me tell you what an elevator mechanic does, though. An elevator mechanic is somebody that's responsible for installing, maintaining, repairing, or operating elevators, moving sidewalks, and a variety of other kind of lifts. Now, when I say moving sidewalks, if you've ever been to an airport, you'll see a lot of the moving sidewalks there. You'll see them in the airport where you stand on them and it transports you from A to B. You just stand there. You can walk on it as well, but most people just kind of take a little break. I actually walk on the moving sidewalks because I'm usually trying to get where I'm trying to go. But these particular devices require certain individuals that know how to repair them, how to care for them, how to maintain them. Now, I will tell you this, and I'm going to give you the truth on this one. This particular career, if you don't like heights or you're claustrophobic, this may not be the job for you, because oftentimes elevator mechanics have to go very, very, very high up into buildings. Because, if a building has an elevator, normally it's going to go pretty high. 2 floors is not that high, but imagine a building with 50 floors. Imagine a building with 100 floors. Imagine a building with 300 floors. I've been in buildings like that. Well, that elevator person has got to get in there and get inside that elevator shaft. You've seen elevator shafts in movies. I know they're very tall. Some are dark. There's a little light in there. They're very confined. They're not very large open spaces. So if you're claustrophobic, this may not be the job for you. It may not be the career for you. If you're afraid of heights, this may not be the career for you unless you can get over those issues. Because if you can get over those issues, if you're claustrophobic and if you're afraid of heights, then I'm pleased to tell you that an elevator mechanic makes about $85,000 a year. Woo, where the money resides, Yeah, you heard me. $85,000 a year for elevator mechanics. That's roughly $41 an hour. Now, for $41 an hour, it may be worth your time and your effort to overcome heights, your fear of heights, and to overcome your fear of enclosed spaces, because that's a handsome salary. That's a handsome hourly wage that you can really build your life on as a young adult. Here's number 3. We're talking about trade school. Trade school. Want to look at trade schools and tech schools because they can get you ready for the job market. And I'm talking about great jobs. Great jobs like number 3, dental hygienist. Yeah. Have you ever considered being a dental hygienist? Well, dental hygienists are very important. Now, a dental hygienist usually requires an associate's degree. That's a 2-year degree. With that 2-year degree, though, you'll be in prime position to be someone who will clean patients' teeth, remove tartar and stains and plaque. The dental hygienist also examines the patient for signs of oral diseases such as gingivitis, and they also provide preventive care, including oral hygiene. Now, you say, well, how much does it pay? I'm glad you asked. I told you I'm bringing you careers where the money resides. I'm bringing you careers that you need to be paying attention to and looking at because they pay quite well. Dental hygienists make on average $76,000 a year. Woo! Drop the money. There it is. $76,000 a year. That's right. That breaks down to about $36 an hour. $36 an hour. Again, ask anybody that you know, anybody that's working a job, anybody near you, ask them, say, hey, Pastor Troy was presenting these different career paths, talking about trade school and tech school and Job Corps, and he mentioned something about a dental hygienist, and he told me to ask you, is $36 an hour good money? Let me see what they say. I promise you they're going to say, yeah, that's good money. Now, I've given you 1, 2, 3 options. Would you like a fourth one? I'm just planting seeds. I'm planting seeds of possibility so that you will know the availability of the various career paths that you can choose from. You don't have to be stuck doing what others have done. You don't have to be stuck with what you can see. I'm trying to open your vision a little bit brighter so that you can see some things that you didn't even know existed. Here's number 4, one of my favorites, and this is really a sign of the times. Number 4, multimedia artists and multimedia animators. OMG.com. What do these people do? Well, these people create 2 and 3 dimensional models and images that appear to move, and visual effects for television, for movies, for video games, and other forms of media. So these are the techie people that are very creative, and they create all of these different things that we see in gaming systems and special effects in movies and in television and video games, where these people are amazing because they are very creative. They're very creative, and they know how to animate things. In other words, they can take objects that are inanimate, objects that don't normally move on their own, but they know how to make them move when you see them in a movie or you see them in a video game. Now, this multimedia artist and the multimedia animators usually requires a bachelor's degree in computer graphics or some related field. Computer graphics or some related field will get you into this particular occupation. Check out the pay though. The average salary for a multimedia artist and a multimedia animator is $76,000 a year. That's roughly $36 an hour. Let the money fall. There it is right there. Where the money resides, where the money resides, where the money resides. Woo! Man, have you thought about being a multimedia artist? Yeah, if you are someone that's creative, someone that's in this class of people who are part of this digital universe, this might be something you want to look into, especially if you have a passion for this. Imagine getting paid for doing something like this, and it's something that you enjoy. Wouldn't even call it work, you'd call it fun, and you'd get paid about $76,000 a year or $36 an hour to do something that you love doing. Or maybe that's not your bag. Maybe that's not your thing. How about number 5? Number 5 is a good one. It's called a logistics manager. A logistics manager. Have you ever even heard of a logistics manager? Well, if you haven't, you have today. Now, let me tell you something. A logistics manager is an important person. First of all, it's the person that's in charge of overseeing the purchasing and the distribution of products in a supply chain. They are the integral part of the process of making sure customers receive their products. These people are extremely important, which I wonder why it's one of those careers that we probably haven't heard a lot about, but you're hearing a lot about it now because it's an awesome career. It's an awesome career that pays about $74,000 a year. I told you I'm going to bring you some information that's going to change the way you think. $74,000 a year to be a logistics manager. That's roughly $34 an hour. That's good money. Again, I want to go to the technology world because the technology world is growing and increasing in occupational careers. The technology world is growing and increasing and producing jobs that pay very well because the world is becoming more techy. As you turn around, everything is being geared toward technology in some shape, form, or fashion. Number 6 is web developers. Web developers. Have you ever thought about being a web developer? Say, well, Pastor, what does a web developer do? I'm glad you asked. A web developer creates and maintains websites. All of the websites that you see, somebody is developing those, somebody is maintaining those, somebody is creating those. Now, they're also responsible for the site's technical aspects, such as the site's performance, the site's capacity, which are usually measured by a website's speed and how much traffic the site can handle. In addition, web developers may even create content for the site. Now, this particular job, again, I'm bringing you some amazing career paths that you really should consider. How much do you think a web developer makes a year? Let me hear you guess. How much? That much? That much? I'll tell you, web developers on an average make $74,000 a year. $74,000 a year. That's roughly $34 an hour to be a web developer. Again, a career path that I strongly want you to begin to consider. Now check this one out. Number 7. Number 7 is again another one of these career paths that we don't hardly ever hear about. But I'm telling you, not only is it prosperous, not only is it a financial career that will set you right financially, have your money right where you can live a decent life and live a good life, really. It's a career path that is projected to grow 12% in the next 10 years. This next career path I'm about to share with you has been projected to grow in the next 10 years by 12%, which means this job isn't going away anytime soon. As a matter of fact, there's going to be more jobs and more opportunities in this particular career path. Would you like to know what this one is? This one is a good one. It's one of my faves. It's the Diagnostic Medical Sonographer. That's number 7. Diagnostic Medical Sonographer. So, Pastor, what is that? Now, you've probably seen these people. If you've ever been to the hospital and you've ever had a CAT scan or an MRI or ultrasound, maybe your mom had an ultrasound when she was pregnant. Well, guess what? The Diagnostic Medical Sonographer is the one that's responsible for the imaging of the CAT scans, the MRI, and the ultrasounds. Yeah, those people are very important. That particular job averages about $68,000 a year, $33 an hour. Very good pay, very good money. Drop the money one time. Yeah, see, that's where the money resides. Diagnostic Medical Sonographers. Yeah, and they usually work in hospitals. They usually work in doctors' offices, and they usually work in labs. Now, that is a career that you may want to consider. That's a career that if I was you and I hadn't made a career path choice, I would look into that. I would investigate it. And listen, if any of these interest you, I want you to look into them. Google them. Do some research. Find out more information. I'm just trying to whet your appetite. I'm just trying to point your head in the right direction. After that, you hear something that kind of interests you, you need to investigate it and check it out. And if it really does strike a chord with you, then go for it. Go for it. I'm telling you today, go for it. And I promise you, you'll thank me 2 to 4 years later that you went for it. And now you're in a career path that's vibrant, that allows you to be financially stable and allows you to make a difference. Every one of these jobs in some shape, form, or fashion impacts people's lives. They make a difference some way, whether it's entertainment, whether it's education, whether it's the medical field. These individuals are making contributions to the world in which we live. And that's important for every one of us to do. All right, here's number 8. Number 8, again, is another one of those career paths that we never hear about, especially in the African-American community. You'll agree with me when I share it with you. Number 8 is called an electric power line installer, aka a lineman. Yeah, not a football player. No, this is the individual who installs, repairs, and maintains electric cables that take power from the power grid and deliver that power to our homes and our businesses. And let me say this, because I always want to make sure that I make this very clear. Every one of these careers that I am throwing out here, women can do them too. As a matter of fact, every one of these careers have women already doing them. And there are women who are electric power line installers. Now, because they call them a lineman doesn't mean that you got to be a man. That's a line woman, I guess. But I want my girls to recognize that you don't have to, limit yourself to various jobs and various careers based on your gender. You could be an electric power line installer. Yes, you can. And if that's something that interests you, pursue it. Google it. Check it out. Now, I will tell you, whether you're a guy or a girl, that this job requires you to work at extremely high height. That's right. This job requires you to work at extremely high heights because that's where the wires are. That's where the power lines are. Now, you have to be able to work at high heights, but you also need to know that this job requires you to work with high voltage electricity. I want you to know that this job is a great opportunity. I just want you to be aware of the different things that you have to keep in mind so that if you pursue this particular career path, you do so with the knowledge of understanding what it entails. Speaking of what it entails, an electric power line installer, aka a lineman, pays about $65,000 a year. That's about $31 an hour. That's good money. You talk about where the money resides? Why don't we let the money fall as you think about $65,000 a year to be an electric power line installer. And again, this is for my guys and my girls. You guys can do this. These are awesome careers that I want you to consider. Just a real quick summary of the best jobs for trade school graduates. Elevator installer or elevator repair person, $84,000. Web developer, $73,000. Dental hygienist, $76,000. Even a plumber, $55,000. Great careers, great jobs, great opportunities for those of you that are searching for what you want to do after high school. Please consider these. I think if you will, you'll be pleased to have one of these as your career, as your job, as the way that you become a young adult in this world who's able to take care of themselves and provide for those that they love. Well, listen, this is Pastor Troy Wynn Sr. bringing to you where the money resides, various career paths, either via college or trade school or tech school or Job Corps. I provided you with some information. Now the rest is up to you. The rest is up to you to do your homework, your research, your due diligence, so that you can figure out what are you going to do after high school. Make a wise choice. Make a smart choice. Make a choice that will allow you to live the kind of life that you want to live. You can do it. I believe in you. And I expect for this information to help some of you make a better choice and a better selection. Perhaps a selection that you didn't even know exist and you had never considered until you watched this series of videos. Have a blessed day.
Cue the music.
This is what I want y'all to do. What a money reside.